me American. Call me American. That is making us racist. That is arrogant. Pull up in the Jag, I ain't gotta brag, y'all done have feel, okay. I ain't got a flag, I got my stripes being in the field, okay. Armstrong, I ain't gotta play ball to take a kneel, okay. All of us built this, now we gotta heal, okay. I brown, I blue, that don't mean I frown you. That don't mean I down you, that don't mean I clown you. All them colors made up anyway, all the races paid up anyway. Divide and conquer, that's what they did, and through that we came up anyway. So anyway, please, don't call me black no more, call me American. Call me American, that is making us racist, that is arrogant, that is arrogant. Don't call him white no more, call him American. Call him American, American. That is making us racist, that is arrogant, arrogant.
KBLA Talk 1580. So this is the conversation. This is our topic for our final hour of the show, expecting the artist. Let's ride it a little bit. So he lays it out in the song. He doesn't want to be called black anymore. It reminds me a little bit of the argument that some of the FBA folks make. Let's all be Americans. So the question is there unity in that, or is there erasure in that? Is it we just have one Smithsonian and we get rid of the Blacksonian, which is apparently being dismantled right now before our eyes? Or is it we get a big wing in the main Smithsonian and we embrace the fact that black history is American history? Certainly you've heard me say time and time again that we have to understand the difference between race, ethnicity, culture, nationality, and religion. Race, in my opinion, is a social construct. But, you know, that's, are you black? Are you white? Are you other? Nationality, what does your passport say, right? Where are you from? Does your passport say U.S.? Does it say Canada? Does it say Jamaica? And that's not going to determine your phenotype, the color of your skin, the way you look. It is not going to be determined by that at all. That's just what your passport says, where you were dropped off by the slave ship or where you were indigenous to. And then there's ethnicity, which is, as the other great ancestor, Dr. Richard King, says, where are your people from? That is ethnicity. Where are your people from? Jay French makes the argument in this song that our ethnicity is American, but you have Irish Americans, Chinese Americans, Japanese Americans, Arab Americans, and I could go on and on. So they have a passport that says U.S. American, but their people are from somewhere else. And some folks don't like African American. They want to be FBA or black or ADOS or something else. But your ethnicity, in my understanding, is where are your people from? And so I guess it depends how far back you want to go. Then there's culture. The culture. How do you act? Where do you live? What do you listen to? Where do you stay at? That's our culture. What is black culture? Is there a global black culture? Is there an American culture? Who are you culturally? Morris Phillips in the chat says East Los Angeles. And then, of course, religion plays a piece of that. Are you Christian, Muslim, indigenous? Are you a Buddhist, atheist? All of these make up the who of who we are. And I'm not even getting into the class piece because we started out talking about race, and that's where we said we were landing for this hour. Morris in the chat, Malcolm quoting, saying Malcolm X once said we should never allow an enemy to educate our children. What happened? Well, our responsibility in that is to be, if you are going to send your children to public school and let them learn mainstream history, because really black history is American history, but that's not what's taught, and it's actively being erased right now. Then we have to make sure we are also at least a counter voice, a Saturday school, a study at home. I remember one time doing a gathering for some of the teens with Ashra Kwesi. I wanted them to hear directly from him so he can challenge what they were being taught in school, so they can balance it out. and at least create their own conclusion that there's more than one way of looking at this. And I believe specifically as Americans, we are more confused and less literate about race than other communities, other countries, nations, groups. And it's partly because our nation was built on the genocide of indigenous persons and the enslavement of African persons. So hiding ethnicity is more convenient, more important for us in order to maintain the system of white supremacy, in order to maintain the class structure, the caste system that is functional in this country, which consistently keeps people of African descent, black people, African Americans, FBA, ADOS, whatever you want to call us, at the bottom economically, in health outcomes, in education outcomes, and other measurements of what and who is thriving in this country. So that's why I'm always saying, and I'm going to keep saying, that we have to become more intellectually literate when it comes to the concept of race. Dr. Gerald Horne has a great book, Where Does Race Come From? You know, he talks about the origins of the system of white supremacy and when race becomes, at what point in history race becomes even an issue, even a thing. And Fahima's following up on the Malcolm X quote. I guess we're gearing up for his birthday, his 100th birthday, which is coming up the 19th of May, that he said, I'm one of 22 million who are a victim of Americanism. One of 22 million who are a victim of Americanism. So that's our conversation today. I'd love to hear from you. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. Want to weigh in, though, again, remind you that next Saturday, not this Saturday, but a week from Saturday, we will be at the Barack and Michelle Obama Sports Complex in the city of Los Angeles, right off of Rodeo in La Cienega, Rodeo in La Brea, excuse me, where there will be a free all-day concert celebrating Yo Mama. Okay, speaking of ancestors and lineage, it's a Mother's Day concert. It'll be all day long. I will be on the mic, and 1500 or Nothing will be there. D Nice will be spinning. Leela James. It's all free. And Rasan Patterson. It's going to be a lot of fun. So those of us who are trying to figure out what to do with our moms, come celebrate with me. I'll be looking forward to seeing you there. Let's keep this conversation going. 800-920-1580, 800-920-1580. We're expecting Jay French, but if he does not arrive, well, we're going to keep talking because that's what we do around here. We are KBLA Talk 1580.
A safe place to go loud. A great place for progressive politics. KBLA Talk 1580. If you missed our KBLA Talk 1580 Town Hall, the Altadena Eden Fire, 100 Days and Counting, you missed an evening of reverence, reflection, and reality.
You gotta live in the reality because this is it. Every day, you wake up, is this my life? Don't stay in denial because yes, it is. Don't stay in bargaining where you're praying for a miracle and if it wouldn't have happened, then this is what I would have done. It did.
Our panel participants kept it real. Really real.
I think, number one, it's amazing to me how we ignore systemic racism in our community, and as a people, we've apologized for so much, but when will we stop apologizing for what we have paid for? Because the truth of the matter is we paid for this.
You can always count on KBLA Talk 1580 to give it to you straight, no chaser. When you love folk, you tell them the truth. Seeking the truth, speaking the truth. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we don't black down.
I can't believe how spotless my floors look after using the Swiffer Power Mop. No more dragging around a heavy mop and messy bucket. Now I get the same deep clean without all the work. Thanks to the powerful solution and scrubbing pad of the Swiffer Power Mop, dirt and grime don't stand a chance, and I don't break a sweat. Mic drop. Mop drop.
Swiffer Power Mop. Swiffer Power Mop.
A smarter way to mop. Try it or your money back.
Orlando Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
It's me, Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash. I see those dry elbows, baby. But don't worry, get moisturized right in the shower. So hydrated you can skip the lotion after.
Don't wanna see it dry no more. Skin so moisturized with body wash.
Look at you now, no more dry skin. Your skin gets the moisture it craves with
Olay Indulgent Moisture Body Wash.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 is committed to self-care and community well-being. Walk Good LA was formed in June 2020, inspired by the Black Lives Matter movement and the beginning stages of the COVID-19 pandemic. What began as a few minutes of breath work and yoga meditation before protests against police brutality turned into a safe space for the community to heal in hard times. The immensely positive response from the community transformed the momentum into a movement. Today, Walk Good LA is a Black and Brown-led community wellness organization based in Los Angeles. They provide spaces for healing through community yoga classes, guided meditations, hikes, run clubs, and other activations throughout Los Angeles that attract hundreds of members weekly. With the help of Propel and Michael B. Jordan, they now have a yoga and wellness studio in Los Angeles called the Walk Good Yard. To join their mailing list and connect with healing spaces, please visit walkgoodla.org. That's walkgoodla.org. Or find them on Instagram at walkgoodla. This is a community call to action, a community call to healing from KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 and the California Black Chamber of Commerce invite you to the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. Get certified and register as a new bidder. Sell products and services to the state. Learn about pre-bid events and more, and it's all free. All you have to do is sign up at www.calbcc.org. That's www.calbcc.org. Registration for the Small Business Development Workshop, How to Do Business with California Government, begins at 9 a.m. and the workshop concludes at 1 p.m. on Thursday, May 15th at Victory Park in Pasadena, 2575 Paloma Street. This is a community call to action from the California Black Chamber of Commerce and KBLA Talk 1580. Thanks for waking up with Dominique DiPrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is an excerpt from a poem called Why Is We Americans? But reality is an excerpt on television. Why is we Americans? Why is we Americans? Boodee-da, 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 boodoo-doo, bee-dee-dee-dee, boodee-boodee, boo-boo-boo. What I want is me, for real. I want me and myself, and what that is what I be and what I see and feel, and who is me and the what it is and who it is, and when it me is what it be. I'm going to be here if I want, like I said, self-determination. But I ain't come from a foolish tribe. We wants the mule, the land. You can make it 300 years of blue chip stock in the entire operation. We want to be paid in a central bank, the average worker farmer wage for all those years we gave it free. Plus we want damages for all the killings and the fraud, the lynchings, the missing justice, the lies and frame-ups, the unwarranted jailings, the tar and featherings, the character and race assassinations, historical slander, ugly caricatures. For every Sambo, step and fetch it flick, we want to be paid. For every hurtful thing you did or said, for all the land you took, for all the rapes, all the Rosewoods and Black Wall Street you destroyed, all the miseducation, jobs lost, segregated shacks we lived in, the disease that ate and killed us, for all the mad police that drilled us, for all the music and dances you stole, the styles, the language, the hip clothes you copped, the careers you stopped. All these are suits, specific litigation as represent we, be like we, for reparations for damages paid to the Afro-American nation. Boodee-da, boodee-da, boodee-da. We want education, For all of us and anyone else in the black belt hurt by slavery, for all the native peoples, even them poor white people you show all the time is funny, all them Abners and Daisy Mays, them Beverly Hillbillies who never got to know Beverly Hills, who never got to Harvard on their grandfather's wills. We want reparations for them, right on, for the Mexicans whose land you stole, for all of North Mexico, you call it Texas, Arizona, California, New Mexico, Colorado, all that. Be-dee-da, doo-doo. All that you got to give up. Autonomy and reparation to the Chicanos and the Native Americans whose soul you ripped out with their land. Give self-determination, regional autonomy. That's what Maui is asking, and they're going to do the same when they demand it like us again in their own exploited name. Yeah, the education, that's right. 200 years. We want a central stash, a central bank with democratically elected trustees and a board elected by us all to map out from the referendum we set up what we want to spend it on to build that Malcolm sense self-determination as self-reliance and self-respect and self-defense, the will of what the good Dr. Du Bois beat on, true self-consciousness, simply the psychology of freedom, boodida, boodida, beedida, boodida, that ba ba ba, boody boody boo boo boo. Then we can talk about being American. Then we can listen. Then we can listen without the undercurrent of desire to first set your ass on fire. We will only talk of voluntary unity, of autonomy as vective arms of self-determination if there is democracy in you. That is where it will be shown. This is the only way we as Americans. This is the only truth that can be told. Otherwise, there is no future between us but war, and we as rather lovers and singers and dancers and poets and drummers and actors and runners and elegant heartbeats of the sun's flame. But we is also at the end of our silence and sit down. We is at the end of being under your ignorant smell, your intentional hell. Either give us our lives or plan to forfeit your own.
KBLA Talk 1580. That was my father, the late and great Amiri Baraka, on Why Is We American, since we played Jay French's song at the beginning to set off this conversation, his song Black and White, which talks, well, you heard it. The chorus says, "Don't call us black no more." He's a rapper, multi-instrumentalist, and producer from Oklahoma City. Been rapping since he was 12, plays percussion, piano, and produces, and so much more. He also has
bass and violin.
Bass and violin, let me not forget. Jay French, good morning. Yeah, let you do your own introduction. You have an album dropping today too, right?
It just dropped. It's done. It's out.
It's dropped. It's out.
It's here. I Don't Believe in Bad Days is the name of the album.
Okay.
And it's a really good take on how to get past and turn every single thing that happens to you into a lesson. So there is no bad day.
Well, we'll hear some of that. We heard Black and White, but this is more than a song. That you have merch, you have a whole movement on social media, and you say, "Don't call us black no more." Right.
I mean, it's a start to a long conversation. I mean, you can't take 400 years and undo it in 4 years, which is how long I've been at with that movement. That movement's been going since 2020, and I have petitions. I have not just petitions. I have like merch. I have communities and different people involved in it, and taking it to Congress very soon. So I have enough petitioners already to take it to.
So what are you petitioning for?
The petition is to take race off of all documents and applications. Historic and present.
So that's what they do in Cuba, right? And black Cubans have argued that it erases them in certain ways. Like, for example, they track poverty, they track class, they don't track race. But if you look at the Cuban government, there's no black people, even though there's tons of black people in Cuba. Cuba's way blacker than people think. Right. And so if we erase race from all government documents, doesn't that leave people vulnerable to being left out of resources and positions with no tracking and tracing of that?
Well, in one sense, it could. In the other sense, it does. We should be left out. It's time to leave that out.
What do you mean we should be left out?
It should be left out because
Black people should be left out of resources?
Yeah, because I mean, no. I'm saying no one should be called black who has no one should get a resource just because they're black. No one should get a resource just because they're black or just because they're white or just because they're whatever color, right? So it's the resources have to be divvied up in a responsible way that makes economical sense. That's what we're and if we're thinking about economics, then we know if you fire all the black people from the NBA, no one's showing up to watch the NBA.
Right, no one will watch the game. Right, absolutely. NFL, and we can go on.
Right.
Music.
Right.
But at the same time, how will you know if it's equitably distributed when, if you look at, the caste system in this country, black people typically do get fewer resources. And,
Right.
and it is because we're black. So taking away the label isn't going to change that.
Well, it's not just the label, it's the concept of race. See, the labels still work for us because we use them as slang at this point. But they're not really it's not like I need to be called black for you to look at me how you look at me, or for you to look at me as a talented person, or for you to look at me as an even a person that is equitable or whatever, or deserving or whatever, right? So I understand what DEI is for and what it was good for and why it was started and why we needed it. But now I don't think we need it. Because we're at the point where you're just foolish if you don't hire black people. We're at that point, where it's like, okay, don't hire us. Let's see how this goes. If you want to, go ahead, not hire us. If you want to, let's see how this goes. Go ahead, don't give us what we need in this world. Don't protect us. Don't give us protection. Don't show up for us. And let's see how this goes. And it's only going to hurt itself. And us fighting for black rights and fighting for black rights over and over and over and over and over again hasn't helped us.
But it has helped us.
It's helped us.
We're no longer on plantations.
No, that's not. But that's not because of black rights.
Well, kind of.
That's not because of black rights, though. That bill that Martin Luther King put through was not the black rights bill.
Well,
it was the civil rights bill.
And the Civil War wasn't the black rights war.
No, it wasn't.
But it did. It result in the Emancipation Proclamation,
right?
And the outlawing of enslavement in this country, at least on paper.
That's just because of human decency. Basic.
We fought
human,
a whole war. If it was about human decency, we wouldn't have needed a war to get off the plantation.
True, but it's I mean, it wasn't really about the war. That's a whole other subject. The civil.
Well, we're talking about blackness in this country. You can't dismiss enslavement unless your name is Nikki Haley.
It's no. Enslavement. That war was not fought about slavery. That war was.
No, I mean I'm clear.
That war was about economics. That war was because the Southern states had they had free labor because they still had slavery. They didn't abolish slavery, so they had free labor. So they were able to sell their crops cheaper than everybody. And the North was getting put out because they couldn't sell. They couldn't compete in the market.
I mean, I'm clear on that, so but it resulted in the Emancipation Proclamation, and black people fought in that war.
I'm saying, but what does that
for
have?
Their freedom.
But that doesn't have to do it. That has nothing to do with blackness. That has to do with.
How does it not? I mean,
it doesn't, because
people were enslaved based on race.
They weren't saying let's free these black people. No, they were saying let's even the economical situation out so that we can win as a country. And that resulted in freeing the slaves. The slaves were not freed because they cared about us or our ancestors. That's not why they were freed.
No, I mean, it doesn't. But okay, they're going off on you in the chat. You might have to look at this.
That's nice. I'll look at it later.
I'll look at it later.
I'm gonna say what I said.
But the fact of the matter is, when you say, I don't know if you heard my dad's poem, we were playing it while you were on your way here, the late Mary Baraka. He says, and we just finished our Freedman Friday conversation about reparations.
Right.
Basically, his point is, when you pay the debt for enslavement, when you make us whole, that's when we are fully Americans. Right. How can we be Americans without the rights of Americans?
Right, but do we have the rights of Americans?
No.
How don't we have the rights of America?
You can freely police can freely kill us on the streets with no criminal or
they can't
or civil accountability.
No, they can't. They can't. They can't. They're not allowed to. Just because they get away with it does not mean they're allowed to.
I don't understand what you mean by that.
I'm
they're
saying,
allowed to because it is happening.
They're
That's
not
why
allowed.
we say
they're
Black
not allowed
Lives
to.
Matter.
No, they're not allowed to. That's why it's criminal. That's why some of them go to jail.
Very
right.
few, less than 2%.
Well, they have went to jail. It has happened because it's not allowed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, lightning has struck, a tree. That doesn't mean that's how we.
I'm saying, but it's not allowed. Just because lightning strikes a tree and just because lightning very, very seldomly strikes a tree does not mean if a lightning does strike a tree, it's not gonna tear the tree up. I'm saying it's a rare situation where they actually get caught because this country is very racist. So it's a rare situation in which police officers actually take or get held accountable for that type of behavior, because think about where does this stuff even happen?
Hold that thought. We're going to continue this conversation after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Protesters are in Chicago taking to the streets for May Day. U.S. Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia joined demonstrators as they took part in a march and rally yesterday in the city.
We have rights, and they should be respected by everyone, including our own government.
May Day is a holiday that commemorates the fight for workers' rights. Thousands of people called for stronger protections for workers, higher wages, and greater equality. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is announcing over 1,100 arrests following a statewide immigration crackdown. Operation Tidal Wave was a partnership between ICE and state law enforcement agencies. The 6-day sweep was the largest of its kind in Florida. And May is Mental Health Awareness Month. In order to boost your mental health, experts recommend having a healthy work-life balance and finding a support system to avoid social isolation. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Clippers get it done. They avoided elimination in the NBA playoffs Thursday night with a 111-105 win over the Denver Nuggets at the Intuit Dome in Inglewood. The first round series is tied at 3-3. Game 7 is Saturday in Denver at 4:30. Live coverage on TNT. The Clippers got a strong game last night from their big three. James Harden led the way with 28 points. Kawhi Leonard, knock on wood, had 27 points and 10 rebounds. Norman Powell dropped 24. If the Clippers can go into Denver and win Game 7, they would move on to the second round to face the winner of the Houston Golden State series. Golden State is up 3-2. They can close out the series tonight at home in Game 6. Lakers general manager Rob Pelinka said significant changes with the roster will happen in the offseason. He emphasized that LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and Austin Reeves will not be a part of any trade talks. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
All I need is one mic.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. With so many shows on our station weekdays and weekends, it's hard for me to keep track of all the guests who are actually in studio on any given day. I wish I'd known in advance that LADA Nathan Hochman was coming in studio for a recent interview. Had I known, I would have loved to have personally greeted him and then asked him why LA City Council member Curran Price is being criminally prosecuted for allegations of misconduct similar to the conflict of interest violations for which former City Council member Kevin De Leon is only being fined. What's that about, Mr. DA? In fairness to Mr. Hochman, it was former DA George Gascon who actually filed felony charges against Councilman Price. I opined then on how these criminal charges against Price did not pass the smell test. I was concerned then that this was yet another wayward prosecution of a high-profile black elected, not to mention a waste of taxpayer money. I am even more convinced now that this is a hot mess. To be clear, neither you or I want a bunch of self-serving, greedy, conflict of interest criminals managing the people's business inside LA City Hall. But we also don't want selective or targeted prosecution of black politicians. We've seen that movie before, and we don't need a sequel. It's hard to watch Kevin De Leon get away with paying an $18,000 fine for repeated ethics violations, what he calls an oversight, and at the same time, watch the DA's office continue its criminal prosecution of Kern Price for issues allegedly involving his wife's clients. Motions, I might add, that were passed unanimously by the LA City Councilman. What are you saying, Tavis? I'm glad you asked. DA Hochman did not start this inquisition, but he certainly has the power to stop it. I have said it before, and I will say it again. Fundamental fairness. In the absence of fundamental fairness, we experience a cascade of deteriorating conditions. The erosion of trust, the weakening of social cohesion, alienation, marginalization, the legitimacy of authority diminishes, cynicism and disengagement grow, and ultimately, people abandon civic participation altogether. Fundamental fairness, Mr. Hochman, that's all we ask. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Tavis Smiley. As always, we welcome your feedback.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
Wake me up to a queen, wake me up to a motivational meme, wake me up to anything but a machine. Somebody saying what they mean nowadays without making it a scene nowadays. That's the dream nowadays. At the very least, outraged by things people do to be seen nowadays. But I'm smitten for you. You make a migraine go away. You make a dead tree wanna grow. You make a fall leaf wanna stay. Make a hurt player wanna play. Make a damn sinner wanna pray. Look, I'm inspired by your patience, your wisdom, you're beautiful. I'm thinking they can say what they wanna say, but I'm smitten for you.
KBLA Talk 1580. That right there is from your new album, Jay French,
yes,
which came down today. Sorry, I didn't say hi. Good morning. Hi, how are you doing? You walked right into the Lion's Den because you guys got trapped in traffic. Yeah, I guess Lawson is crazy.
It's not a game out there right
now. Unusual but terrible. Sorry about that. God. So welcome. Congrats on your new album.
Thank you very
Outro,
much.
The song we just heard.
That is Smitten featuring Taylor Deneen. She's from The Voice. She's one of the finalists on The Voice. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what happened is I started talking, setting up the show, and then we played your song, Black and White. Then I was like, well, might as well play my dad since they're not here yet. So I was all in that mind frame of why, as we Americans, you had made the case on your song, Black and White.
Yeah.
Don't call me black no more, call me American.
Right.
I happen to know from off-mic conversations that we do agree on one thing, which is that race is a social construct.
It is. That's true. I mean, that's a fact. We didn't even start accepting it until the 1920s. As a country, we didn't start to use it on documents and applications and stuff until after that.
But
now,
race,
when it was constructed, was at that point. When it was an idea, was way before that,
right.
1600s.
Right.
But black, the term black, was not deemed a term to use for us. Right, in a way until way later.
But our enslavement was 100% based on the phenotype of blackness.
No, but that wasn't just it. That wasn't just it, because we got sold by a lot of people too in Africa. So it's not like that was the only thing that. No, they were.
Well, that was that's kind of a rabbit hole because that was a different construct. Yeah. Do you consider yourself a black man?
I mean, I'm considered a black man, just like you're considered a black woman.
Right.
But we're just Americans.
You said don't call me black no
If we go to Africa right now, what they gonna call us? Americans.
Black Americans.
They're gonna call us Americans.
And so, are you?
And they do call us Americans when they're here. They call us Americans. Now they call us certain things because we want to be called them. We're like, call me black.
Brother.
They want to call you black. Because they want you, they think you want to be called black. Because you're just talking about Black Lives Matter, and I'm black and I'm proud. And of course, they watching you and they're like, hey, that's a black person. But when they're talking amongst themselves, and I've heard these people, I've heard their conversations in Mexico and different people. They call us Americans no matter where we go. If we go to China, they call us Americans. It could be me and you standing with two other people we call white here, and they call us all Americans. You can call yourself Irish all you want.
Are you okay? So
but I'm gonna tell you now. You go to Ireland, they're gonna call you American. You don't fit in their culture. You're not a part of their neighborhood.
You're talking about Irish American.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but what is the advantage of erasing the term black and just calling us Americans? Why are you calling for that?
Because it brings us to appreciate us as an ethnicity instead of just as a it takes away the divide, the thing that we think is so different about us. You go to Puerto Rico, people are all kinds of colors. Blue-eyed, blonde hair, look like me, look like you, look like Miles. They look like everybody. They look like Cameron Diaz there. They look like everybody there. Mm-hmm. And but they call themselves with impunity, I am a Puerto Rican.
Right, but they still have a caste system, and the black or Puerto Ricans are still on the bottom.
And that's the fucked up part of it. You see what I'm saying? I'm sorry for my language.
Not a podcast.
That's the messed up part of it. You see, that's the part that is messed up, is the part where they actually use this. Anyone that's trying to use race or colorism, that's where their country goes wrong. That's where their social aspect goes out the door.
But it's not
social fairness goes out the door.
It's not just whether you're trying to use it. It is in place. So to pretend it's not, okay, let me back up. At the beginning, I said we have to know the difference between race, ethnicity, nationality, culture, religion, right? Right. So, and in your song, or I don't know if it's in the song or on TikTok, you say that American is an ethnicity.
It's our ethnicity. Yeah. It's a
to
new
me,
ethnicity.
Is where are your people from?
This is our new ethnicity. Ethnicity, if you look up the word ethnicity, what comes back is beliefs. Sometimes nationality. Sometimes
nationality is
behavior.
what your passport says. Well, ethnicity is where your people are from.
No. That's descendants.
Same thing.
No, it's not the same thing. Ethnicity and descendants is different. They're different words. They mean different things. We are African descendants, but we are not Africans. We are Americans. I am not an African. I am an African descendant. You are not an African or an Italian. You're an African and an Italian descendant, Dominique DiPrima.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I'm a descendant. I know I'm actually happy to be an African American with Italian ethnicity also.
But you're not African American either. You're just American. You're not African American.
The great Neely Fuller says we should call people what they want to be called.
Well, if you want to be called a cat, then we'll call you a cat. But I'm not going to walk out this room and pretend like you really was a cat.
Well, it's a little different. I'm talking about where are your people from? I mean, Black American, African, Italian American.
I just think it's time for us to stop spelling cat with a K. Okay, it's time for us to stop spelling cat with a K when we know it's spelled with a C. It's not that. What I mean by that is, it's not that we have to be like, let's erase Black history. That's not what that's. Black history is American history. That's a part of what made this country what it is. If we didn't have the Civil Rights Bill and that man Martin Luther King walking a cell, man, going to jail over and over again for sit-ins and different things, if we didn't have this guy doing this, think about where we would be. Where would white women even be able to do right now? You know what I'm saying? That freed so many people. It's not about being Black or it's just about basic human rights and human decency. And what are we as a country? if we're staying here and we living here and complaining about it, why the fuck are we not gonna fix it? I'm sorry again. Oh my God, I cursed again.
Miles is working that delay
the bleep button
this morning. Yeah, yeah. I mean, understood, but at the same time, culturally, you're a rap artist. That's Black American culture.
That's not though.
What?
That's not though. It's not Black.
Whose
American
culture is it then?
It's just American culture. That's what made this something. That's why they can't do it overseas. Because
they are doing
They
it.
can't do it in Africa. They cannot rap like me. They can't do this in Africa because they're not from what I'm from. They're not part of this ethnicity that I'm a part of. That's why they can't do it over there. That's why London rappers sound crazy.
I like Sampa the
No,
Great.
that's why that stuff sounds like that, because it's not part of our ethnicity. That's not. We have an ethnicity called American, not just it's just a country or a nationality. If you look at everybody that's in Nigeria right now, them people ain't from there.
So
the Igbo people make up a small part of that place. It's not. They don't make up. Them people migrated from everywhere.
Yoruba. There's a lot of cultures there.
Come on.
But the fact that that's culture, that's ethnicity.
Well,
where are your
that's
people from? But
that's
they're
what it
all
becomes.
Black.
Well, it's just beliefs. That's what ethnicity is. Ethnicity is not.
So Black people in London should call themselves British. Black people in Nigeria should call it Nigerian.
And they do.
But there are. So Elon Musk should call himself African, even though he's a white African, white South African. But there's different, even today, there's different rules and different outcomes for Black South Africans compared to white South Africans.
Yeah.
So you just want to, isn't that pretending that
I'm not
doesn't
saying
exist?
I'm not saying to ignore color when I say that. Understand this. I am not saying, hey, don't see color like some crazy person. You understand? I'm saying stop titling us as something that doesn't pertain to us, which is a default. We will call Black by default just because it was the contrasting color to white. It was not because because our skin is actually black. It's because they called us something to differentiate us and separate us and control us. That's what they needed to do. They needed not just to control us. We're not the only victims of racism. That racist cop that shot that Black man is a victim of racism as well. If you really want to go in there, if you really want to look in there and really want to dig in there, what do racist cops have? What do they? How are they able to live if they always are on guard when they see us or fearful because they're taught to be of us? Wouldn't it free them? So if one person's not free, nobody's free. Period. So if someone steals from you, if someone is stealing from people in this neighborhood, everybody is a victim. Even the thief. The thief has paranoia, and everybody else has to be on guard. Until we free this person and ask them what they need, and treat them like they're us, and give them something that we have, share our resources with them, we probably will never stop having thieves. And this is what I'm saying. It's like we have to eventually be called Americans for us to be treated. Because if you keep treating us like we're different, like we're something different, then we're going to start to act like and behave like we're something different than these people. And we have to live here with these people. And they got to live here with us. And we're going to keep separating ourselves from them and acting like that's cool to separate ourselves from them and be like, this is a Black community and that's a white community. How long are we going to do that until we finally figure out the only way for us to win is together? There is no other way for us to win. If we're not together, we don't win. We're still losing. No matter what it is. I don't care who's president. I don't care if Trump president, Obama's president. If we are not understanding that our voice is the power that makes them president, they need us to vote for them. If we're not understanding that we count, that we have to be together, we're going to lose no matter if Trump's president, and we're going to lose no matter if Obama's president. We still lose. And the only way we win is when we are unified.
Jay French is my guest, 800-920-1580. If you want to weigh in, the album out today, right this minute, I Don't Believe in Bad Days. We'll continue the conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DiPrima when we come forward.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams. My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well-trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
The Comedy Connection series featuring KBLA's Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, and the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady. We're going to transform relationship disasters into stand-up material live at Inglewood's Miracle Theater on May 31st at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. My clinical team will disclose all of your dating woes, while the alpha male of comedy, Ray Grady, has hand-selected supremely talented comedians to roast all of our tragic relationship choices. I dare you to bring your ex's phone number, because Ray, he's going to text it live, and the crowd will be sourcing emojis. Tickets are moving swiftly, so don't hesitate to grab yours at themiracleinglewood.com before I diagnose your dating history as a pre-existing condition.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DiPrima on First Things First.
Yes, it is. It's a Friday. I told you it was going to be a fiery Friday around here. I love the conversations with Jay French. Last time you were on, rap artist, multi-instrumentalist, and a member of the Grammy organization, the Recording Academy. You went hella viral last time you were on. They're still talking about that Kendrick Lamar conversation that we had. It's up on my Instagram. If you want to see
Kendrick's dope.
If you and you're available, you're everywhere on all social media at Jay French.
Yeah. See, Kendrick, you know what? Kendrick's dope. You'll find me if you want to find me. First of all, I'm not even gonna spend time on that. I'm not here to promote.
Okay,
No.
but the album did drop today.
It is what it is.
It is.
Get the album if you want the album. Find me if you want me.
You're from Oklahoma.
Yes.
You're Black American.
Yeah.
Or American.
Yeah.
And you've got this.
My father's he's Kemetic. That's why I have a ankh on right here.
Your ankh. Okay, that's in tribute to your dad.
Yes, it is. Not just to my father, but to that culture altogether. I just like the culture. I'm not Kemetic, but I like the culture and I like the idea.
Well, the ankh means life.
Right, it means life. But I just love what it means to them, because to me it means nothing, but to them it means a lot.
Okay.
To me it's just symbolism, but to them it means something else.
But symbols mean things.
Symbols mean stuff to people who can understand them. If you can't read Chinese, I'm sorry. Okay, what it says in Chinese, it means nothing to you, you know. But I'm just, you know what? My thing is this: like, I have to be totally disconnected from society, which is this. That's our next level, and that's what this is really all about: is disconnecting from society, because society is when you connect with society too much. In the Bible, it says, "For the nations they celebrate in vain. Stay away from following the nations, because the nations move in vain." This is in Jeremiah. It says they will cut down trees and put gold and silver on them, and this is what it says in there. It tells you how vain the nations become. and even God had to smite his own people.
You're talking. I mean, that sounds like
down.
nationalism.
That's what it is. Stay away from nationalism, but stay away from the nations. The nations then at that time were doing things out of vanity, and this black and white thing has become not just something that's embedded in our society here. It has become something that's been accepted in our society, and we should have never accepted it in the first place. We should have only been accepted as being called an American and being entitled as an American. Think about your driver's license. Pull your driver's license out right now and look at your driver's license and look at how they describe you. That's how you should be describing yourself. By eye color, by height, by age, by these are the things, these are other things that describe you instead of just race. If you're only describing yourself by race, you're missing the whole point, because it doesn't describe, because like if I said it was a black guy, he was around 6 foot and he shot somebody, right? And then you go looking for this guy. That's such a vague way to describe that guy. Think about the way you describe your mother. Whenever you do talk about someone you know, you describe them by characteristics that are not even physical before you describe them as physical ones. When someone says, well, what was your mother like? You're gonna say she was nice, she was kind, she was mean, she was whatever. You're gonna talk about her spiritual characteristics before you ever talk about her physical ones.
Miles put a poll in the YouTube chat. You can weigh in on whether we should stop using black or not as a term. So my thing is,
eventually we have to, in order for us to actually heal.
I always say we have to know the difference between ethnicity, culture, nationality, religion, and be able to really define who we are.
Yeah.
So you say your ethnicity is American.
Yes.
Your nationality is American.
That's my nationality.
That's what your passport says.
That's what everything says.
Culturally?
That's what it says. Culturally, I'm American as well. Culturally, I don't believe you're an adult till you're 18. Culturally, I don't believe you should drive till you're 16.
Culturally, you're from Oklahoma.
Culturally, I don't think you should drink till you're 21. Culturally, I am American. Culturally.
But you're from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Your mama is Black American. Your dad, Black.
My mom's mixed, but she's.
Your mom's mixed.
Yeah, but she's, she's mixed with different things, but she's Black. I would consider her black. I would consider her Black. Even though she's probably like a fourth Black, I would consider her Black. My father is he's Black and Native, and but he's.
But Oklahoma is such. I mean, it's very Americana, but it's also the home of the Greenwood, the Black Wall Street. A lot of it's the South.
Yeah.
And so culturally, are you Southern? Are you? There's blackness there. All of these things are specificity.
Culturally, I'm none of it. Culturally, I'm none of it. I'm what I make myself to be every day. Culturally, I don't have I'm not attached to anything. That's what I'm saying. I'm detached from society. I checked out of society back in 2015. I'm not a part of this shit. So anyway, but if you're going to call me anything, call me American, because that's what my people are. That's who my white friends, who we consider white, my Black friends, who we consider Black, my mixed friends, or my ambiguously racial friends, who we consider whatever we want to consider just because they want to be considered that. I don't care who it is, the thus, they, them, thoueth people, whoever it is. It doesn't matter. These are, to me, those are all Americans. They all look like Americans to me, because they all believe the same thing. We all act the same way. We all speak the same type of language, the same type of English right here. We're not Australian. They have a whole different culture there. We're not British. They have a whole different culture. The other English-speaking countries. So does Canada even. And I'm saying we are one of the only countries in the world that actually uses race on our applications and documents.
So that healing that you talk about, because time flies when you're on the radio.
Yeah.
What does that look like for you?
Healing looks like us being only considering each other by our cultural identity, which is really, I'm gonna be honest with you, if you look at all of the paperwork that comes with you being a human being, it's gonna say American. It points you out as an American. America owns you. Even, what I'm saying? If you really look at it, but we the people, we live in a democracy and a republic, right? So it's a republic in reference to how free our nation is. We're not owned by anybody else. So it's a republic, right? In reference to our freedom, our independence, or our sovereignty as a nation. And then it's a
democracy.
It's a democracy in terms of the way that we govern, right? As far as you look, in reference to our government. So our government means that the people get to vote on everything. The people make the rules. So if the people make the rules and we're only taking one person's side and we're never hearing the other side of things, and the people make the rules, that's dangerous. Like, think about this. George Washington, like, how many votes did he get?
I don't know, but
because he didn't have to get voted in. That's the purpose. Everybody agreed that this war general who led us through the Revolutionary War, the Battle of Bunker Hill, the Battle of Bunker Hill, that everyone agreed that he should be president because he was the most popular guy at the time. So no one was disagreeing with him being president.
Oh, we got to leave it there because it's time for Tavis Smiley. Unbelievable.
Gosh.
Yeah, you'll have to do it. We'll have to do part 3, maybe by phone. I know you're not around here a lot. But Jay French, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Definitely. Anytime, Dominique. Anytime. Beautiful.
And the best of Tavis Smiley is up next. I'm going to leave us with a quote from Neely Fuller today. Neely Fuller says, "We call people what they want to be called." Tavis Smiley's next. Until Monday, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Protesters are in Chicago taking to the streets for May Day. U.S. Representative Jesus Chuy Garcia joined demonstrators as they took part in a march and rally yesterday in the city.
We have rights, and they should be respected by everyone, including our own government.
May Day is a holiday that commemorates the fight for workers' rights. Thousands of people